today we're wading into a topic that can feel really personal.
Yeah, definitely sensitive for a lot of people.
Right. Even a bit guarded, maybe.
Yeah.
But it's something pretty much everyone has thought about or, wrestled with at some point. Sex before marriage. And look, our mission here isn't to tell you what's right or wrong or to judge anyone's choices.
Not at all.
It's really just about exploring this whole decision with honesty and respect, like a conversation you might actually have with, close friends.
A safe space to talk about it.
Exactly. For this deep dive, we've pulled together some really fascinating insights. It's a very human mix of perspectives, experiences, different reflections.
Right.
All designed to help us understand how people actually navigate this really intimate choice. It's like peeling back the layers,
Yeah, and our goal today is really to unpack those layers. We'll dig into questions like, is it just right or wrong?
Yeah.
Am I actually ready for this?
Big questions.
Huge. What if I end up regretting it?
Right.
Or is waiting really about self-worth? Or is that, I don't know, just kind of an outdated idea now? We want to give you, the listener, a sort of shortcut to understanding the nuances here without getting bogged down in all the judgment or like the awkwardness.
Yeah, avoid the discomfort.
Because what often gets missed is that sex isn't just physical,
Yeah.
right? It's so emotional, it's mental. It can be amazing, beautiful, but also confusing, incredibly vulnerable, and yeah, sometimes awkward too, all at once.
Okay, so as we start peeling back these layers, the first thing that kind of hits you is how much of our thinking isn't really ours.
Right, it's inherited almost.
Yeah, it's whispered to us, maybe
Yeah.
directly, maybe indirectly, right from the beginning. So how do those societal echoes, how do they really shape our first ideas about intimacy and sex before marriage?
Well, it's true, isn't it? Most of us grew up with some kind of message. Maybe it was religious, don't do it, wait for your husband or wife.
Heard that one.
Or maybe broader societal stuff like, you're supposed to save yourself. That's what good people do.
Right, that sort of implicit expectation.
Exactly. And for a lot of people, it was just this confusing jumble, biology class, maybe some idealized stuff from movies.
Oh, yeah, movies definitely paint a picture.
And then, of course, peer influence. That's a big one. But what's really striking when you look at the sources is how few of us were actually taught what sex really is beyond the mechanics.
What it means.
Precisely. What it can mean emotionally, psychologically, and maybe most importantly, how to figure out what it means to you. We weren't really encouraged to ask the tough questions.
We're told it's okay not to have the answers.
Right. And there's a really important difference between shame and wisdom here. Shame makes you hide, makes you feel flawed for even wondering. Wisdom, though, embraces that curiosity. It's about asking why. Not because you're judging, but because you genuinely want to understand yourself better. Knowing it's okay not to have it all figured out, that's actually a sign of growth.
That really brings things into focus. So, okay, given all those mixed messages floating around, what are some of the deeper reasons why someone might actively choose to wait until marriage?
Well, the choice to wait, it often comes from something much deeper than just like following a rule.
It's true.
For many, it's rooted in profound religious faith, a belief that sex is sacred, meant specifically for that committed marital bond.
Okay.
But even beyond that, for others, it's about core personal values, this desire to save that really unique, profound intimacy for the one.
That idea of the one.
Yeah. And our sources, they talk about this common thread, this quest for unconditional belonging. For some people, delaying physical intimacy isn't about restriction. It's actually about testing the depth of the emotional connection first.
Before adding the physical vulnerability.
Exactly. Making sure the foundation is solid, built on more than just, physical attraction. Then there's also, frankly, a real fear of regret. That thought of, what if I share this deeply intimate part of me with someone who isn't permanent?
That vulnerability again.
And emotional protection is huge. A belief that sex creates these deep bonds, and if they break, the hurt is profound. Look, there's undeniable strength and self-control, real power in aligning your actions with your values. That choice deserves respect.
Absolutely.
But here's the key thing we found. Waiting ideally comes from clarity and conviction.
Not from fear.
Exactly. Not from fear or shame.
Yeah.
It needs to be a conscious choice, one that's really felt and understood personally.
Okay, so we've explored the reasons behind waiting, often rooted in these deep personal convictions. But, the world's changing. What about those who feel differently? What's the perspective of people who choose not to wait for marriage?
Right, and their perspectives are just as valid.
Yeah.
And often come from an equally deep place of conviction. Many feel that, genuine love and connection don't always need a ring. That sex is natural, it's healthy, it's part of exploring intimacy within a committed, loving relationship.
Marriage isn't the only definition of commitment for them.
Precisely. Some also point out, quite rightly, that marriage itself doesn't automatically guarantee emotional safety, or prevent regret for that matter.
Sure.
So for them, it's perfectly okay to be close, to be vulnerable, to express love physically with someone they trust deeply, even without that legal piece of paper.
Yeah.
For many, sex is actually seen as a powerful way to build connection or express love. It challenges that old idea of marriage being the sole gatekeeper for physical affection.
So what's the common thread there?
What our sources really highlight here is that what truly matters is intention and respect. When two people are honest, when they're freely consenting, genuinely caring, and importantly, emotionally mature, they're making a decision with awareness. It's not recklessness.
It sounds like it requires maybe even more communication sometimes.
Often, yes. Because the societal scripts aren't always there to fall back on, you know?
Yes.
They have to actively create their own understanding.
This is where it gets even deeper, I think. Because regardless of the choice wait or not wait, sex seems to always carry significant emotional weight, right? Those consequences. Can you unpack that a bit more?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's such a fundamental truth, but easy to gloss over. Sex connects people profoundly on multiple levels. It involves deep trust, raw vulnerability, even parts of our identity get wrapped up in it.
It's more than just physical.
Way more. And actually, biologically, our brains release bonding chemicals like oxytocin during intimacy. We're literally hardwired for attachment through it.
Oh, wow.
So when things don't go as you hoped or imagined, the emotional fallout isn't just like disappointment. It can feel like catching of a core connection. It can impact your sense of self, your ability to trust in really profound ways. You might feel used, confused, ashamed, maybe even broken.
Wow.
However, and this is crucial, when sex is approached with real care, with clear, enthusiastic consent,
We're negotiable.
totally, with ongoing open communication and genuine emotional clarity, it can be beautiful. It can even be healing. So this isn't just about whether you have sex before marriage. It's about asking yourself, are you truly ready for the emotional weight? For this connection?
Are you doing it for the right reasons?
Yes. Are you doing it because you genuinely want to? Not because of pressure or obligation. Do you really understand what it might mean for your emotions and for the relationship itself?
And have you talked about it?
Critically, yes. Have you talked openly, honestly, about boundaries, feelings, expectations with your partner? Because look, sex without that understanding, it can leave emotional scars. But with understanding, mutual respect, genuine care, it can build something real and deeply meaningful, married or not.
That's a really powerful summary. So, okay, as we start to wrap up this deep dive, what does all this mean for, for you, our listener, navigating your own journey, finding your own truth in this really individual decision?
What it ultimately means for your path is that it's just that yours is profoundly personal.
Right.
Some people genuinely find deep peace, real fulfillment in choosing to wait. Others find connection, freedom, a powerful expression of love in not waiting. Both paths are valid.
If they're chosen consciously.
Exactly. If chosen with heart, with intention, with authentic awareness, the guidance that comes through consistently from all sides is, let wisdom, let your personal values, let clarity lead you. Not shame from the outside, not peer pressure. And here's a truth maybe people don't say often enough. You don't have to follow anyone else's rule book but your own.
As long as
your choices don't harm others, and as long as they feel truly aligned with your soul, with who you are, so talk about it.
Yeah.
With a partner, if you have one. A trusted friend, even just with yourself, reflect. Ask the uncomfortable questions, keep learning. Because ultimately, it's not just about what you do.
It's what it means to you.
Exactly, what it means to you and the foundation of respect and clarity you build around that decision.
So this deep dive, it really wasn't about giving easy answers or telling you what's right or wrong.
Definitely not.
It was much more about opening up an honest, open, hopefully shame-free conversation. The kind everyone really deserves to have about this stuff.
And just as you move forward, on your own journey with this, I just want to encourage you to be incredibly kind to yourself.
Yeah, that's important.
It really is. You're allowed to evolve. You're allowed to change your mind. You're allowed to feel things deeply and to live wisely as you navigate these really personal decisions.
And maybe a final thought to leave you with. Remember, you don't owe anyone your body, your story, or your pace. You owe yourself your truth.